Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pie Guy and Brodeur. One voice, two minds. I'm your host, Pie Guy. And before we begin, always remember you can find the rest of these pie-tacular episodes and, of course, this one-of-a-kind podcast on YouTube on the Brodeurland channel and, of course, Spotify. Now, today on this episode, we're going to be talking about the word creativity. That's right. Can you be creative? Can you come up with original ideas? That's the goal today. And to help us do that, we are going to go and circle back to the one, the only, Brodeur of Brodeurland, Mr. Brodeur. Hey, Pie Guy. That's right. Today we're going to be talking about creativity. Can you be original? Can you come up with your own ideas and really stick out and really shine? And you know what, Pie Guy? I love the ending. Why do you love the ending? You don't even know how we're going to end today, Mr. Brodeur. It's a podcast. I got to ask you questions because you always ask me, what is something I want to end with? Is there anything else? Well, I know what I'm going to end with today. Ooh, Mr. Brodeur. Are you going to leave us waiting? Or are you going to give us a little bit of a hint? Well, Pie Guy, I will say this. When it all comes down to your life, do you really want to be a copy or do you want to be original? That's my hint. That's how we're going to end today. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pie Guy, because you know what? We got to really explore creativity. We really got to take a look at what it all means. That is so true, Mr. Brodeur. So, are you ready to slice into this word of the week, creativity? I am, Pie Guy. So, let's get rolling. Sure thing, Mr. Brodeur. So, just like I always like to start things off, please, Mr. Brodeur, tell us, what does it mean to be creative? How can we be more creative in our life, right? Well, Pie Guy, let's start with that Brodeurland definition for creativity. And it goes like this. You have to find alternative and original solutions when faced with a challenge. It's the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. You see, Pie Guy, I love this word creativity. Right here in the middle of all the words of the week. I mean, I feel like we're smack dab in the middle of all of my 33 words of the week. You know, Mr. Brodeur, I think you're right. I mean, we're right there. I think we're hitting episode 20, 21, somewhere around there. So we are a little bit beyond that halfway point. Yeah, Pie Guy, and you see, once you embark on this journey of becoming that best version of yourself and building confidence and persevering and being resilient and applying all these words to your life, this is part of your journey. This is the time when you start trying things out, experimenting, seeing what you're made of, and stirring the pot at work, in your life, by being perseverant, by reflecting, by being all these words we've talked about up until this point. And creativity is now breaking the ice, really bringing you to that next level. Man, Mr. Brodeur, I love that. And you know what? It is true. I feel like we've gone through a lot of words prior to this episode. And now, with some built-up confidence with these words at work, in life, with our hobbies, yeah, I would say naturally, we would tend to want to try things out, push the limits, see if we can get better at them. Exactly, Pie Guy. And it's what Albert Einstein once said. He said, creativity is seeing what everyone else has seen and thinking what no one else has thought. Pie Guy, that is what I've done with teaching, my classroom, my life. Mr. Brodeur, I can definitely see that. I feel like Brodeurland is really creativity coming to life. Exactly, Pie Guy. And here's the deal. So many times we can get caught up complaining about work, life, this, that, but we never find the solutions. And for me in teaching, Brodeurland came from me finding the solutions to manage my tough classes back in 2022. I was seeing the same students as everybody else, teaching and in a classroom like the other teachers, but could I do what Einstein said and see what everybody else sees and look and do it in new, productive, and clever ways. That was the spark to really Brodeurland, and of course for me to become a better teacher and perfecting and advancing my career. Sure, I could come in every day. I could complain and just suffer through, Pie Guy, or I could take a swing. I could try things out, and I could help these students, these teachers, myself get better and really become the best versions of ourselves. That's the whole goal, Pie Guy. Can I be better than I was the day before? Can I keep pushing myself to be better, to be that best version of myself, and really see if I can make a difference in my life, but also the lives of others? Yes, Mr. Brodeur, and I know you probably have shared this before in your videos or maybe an earlier episode of this podcast series, but again, how did you start this creative process? Because it is true, you have to look at things in another way. So can you share or enlighten us again with some aspects of that spark of Brodeurland and how it relates to creativity? Yes, sure, Pie Guy, and it's a great question. And to be honest, I got to the point that year with those students in my teaching career where the pain of staying the same outweighed the pain of change. You see, Pie Guy, I couldn't just keep standing up there and just keep doing what I was doing because I was just getting the same results. Nothing was changing. I had had it. It was enough. So I said, okay, time to try something new. And I turned on my co-teacher and I said, you know what? Get ready tomorrow. I'm changing things up. Because you know what? What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm still not doing anything right now. Might as well take a swing. Might as well try something else so things could change and see if I could get better or get these classes to be better, right? And from there, a new Brodeur, a new process, a new job experience, right? Brodeurland was born. And there was a lot of trial and error. I'm not going to say overnight, yay, we did it. Everything was peachy, right? No, there was failures, there was successes, but from that, it allowed me to evolve. It allowed me to create the many wonderful and creative things I do here and use for Brodeurland. Whether those are the videos, the music, the Brodeurland motto, the goals, the words of the week, the podcast, the books, you name it. I mean, I feel like every couple of months or every couple of weeks, I'm always trying to allow my creative juices to flow, right? What's another thing I could try? What's another way I could progress? Because here's the deal, Pie Guy. We can't set limits, but you got to go out there and you got to see what is possible. Pie-tacular, Mr. Brodeur. You know, and I'll say this, you stole my thunder a little bit talking about don't set limits. I know, Pie Guy. I had to throw that in there for you. Well, Mr. Brodeur, I will say this. You really gave us a glimpse into that creative process, and it was really eye-opening, but I'll say this. It sounds like it wasn't really that easy. You know what, Pie Guy? And like I said a second ago, it wasn't. And to be honest, what I encourage all of you to do is not wait like I did. Mr. Brodeur, what do you mean by that? Like, wait like you did? You see, Pie Guy, like I mentioned a little bit ago, I waited till the pain of staying the same outweighed the pain of change. Why not get creative earlier and try to keep pushing the limits before you have no choice like I did, right? I got to the point where I was just like, I have no choice. I've got to do something. Think about how much faster you would progress and improve and reach your goals. Now, Pie Guy, I'm not saying change for the sake of change. For not all change leads to success, but you know what? All success is a result of successful change, trying things out. I love it, Mr. Brodeur. And you are so right. Success in achieving our goals requires growth. It requires change. It requires a process, right? Progress. You need to be willing to try sooner rather than later. You're so spot on that, I feel like, Mr. Brodeur. Yes, Pie Guy. And you know what? Creativity is all about wondering and asking yourself, you know what? What if? What if I do this? What if I try this out? Whether it is creating a simple, quick drawing or, you know what? Coming up with a new invention. It all stems from the creative practice of asking yourself, okay, what if I did this or looked at it in a brand new way? You see, when it comes to creativity, Pie Guy, it takes guts. You have to go out there and you got to try something new. You have to be willing to take the action, to see it through. It takes guts because you know what? You're going to be looking at it in a brand new perspective, ways that many people may not be able to catch on or see at first. And you know what? That's okay. Because at the end of the day, you have to take that creativity and you've got to try it. You got to put it on for size. You got to put it to action. You got to think outside the box and allow your creativity to really come to life. You see, Pie Guy, Albert Einstein also said another great thing on creativity, and it goes like this. Creativity is just intelligence having fun. Oh, Mr. Brodeur, I love that perspective. That idea that creativity is really just exploring and having fun with it. Yes, Pie Guy. And you know what? Do you know what makes somebody stand out? What makes somebody a master of their craft, of their profession? What is it, Mr. Brodeur? It's the fact, Pie Guy, that they are willing to take something ordinary, something basic that people are so used to, and look at in fresh new ways. But in order to do that, they have to have a basic understanding. They've got to have a basic knowledge of that thing they are looking at and really run away with it and allow their imagination, their intelligence to really have fun, exploring brand new ways. And you know, that's what Steve Jobs did, the founder of Apple. He is the creator of what we know today as that smartphone. And what he did is he took the basic understanding of technology. He said, okay, most people have to buy a phone. Most people have to buy a computer. And most people buy, at that time, a music playing device, an MP3 player, CD player, something of that nature. But we all had to juggle those things back then. Mr. Brodeur, you are so right. I mean, before the iPhone, you had a cell phone. You probably had some type of laptop, right? Those were coming out. And then, you're right, like a CD player, some MP3 players were coming out. Exactly, Pie Guy. And you know what? Steve Jobs asked the question, what if I took those three items, wrapped them up into one, which we would now call the smartphone, or what he called the iPhone? Revolutionary. But to do that, he had to be willing to try new things and look at things in a brand new way. That's my goal with teaching, Pie Guy, in Brodeurland. Can I take that teaching process and education, be creative with it, and try to do things in brand new ways? Look at things with a fresh new take. It's not all about math or the subject we teach. What I learned is it's more about molding these students to really evolve, grow, and build confidence so they can become that best version of themselves. And from there, they can then be more willing to try that math, that subject you're teaching, and get better and really put themselves out there. Amazing, Pie Guy. I love it. Pie-tacular. Now, we are getting to the time of this podcast episode where, you know what? We do got to wrap things up. So, I know you were alluding to or hinting towards earlier that you did want to wrap up. You did want to finish a certain way. So, what is it? What do you want to share with us to put the little final touch on creativity? Yes, Pie Guy. And so, let's talk about how I want to end this. I gave the hint that it was all about not being a copy. So, let's talk about this quote by John Mason. And he says this: you were born an original. Don't die a copy. You see, Pie Guy, you are somebody. We're all somebody. We're all capable. We all matter. We all have a purpose. The key is you just have to believe in yourself. You don't want to be another copy of somebody else. But Mr. Brodeur, you tell us all the time, learn from others. Isn't that, in a sense, copying? Well, yeah, Pie Guy. I mean, if you look at it that way, sure. But look at it this way. Learn from others. And the successful people out there, yes. Maybe even copy some of their great strategies. That's a start. But then go out there and see if you can take that knowledge, take those ideas, really make them your own. Look at them in a brand new light. You see, in life, you're going to have to recognize patterns and strategies. Then you're going to start to get good at them. And you're going to start to use those strategies. But here's the deal. Like any musician, like any actor, right? They may start off recognizing the keys of a piano, right? Or recognizing little catchphrases or lines or ways that actors and actresses that are successful really carry themselves. And then they start to use those, or they try to reproduce that song or say, hey, I can play this on the piano. But what's really going to set you apart is when you start to create those own patterns, your own strategies, your own music, your own way. See what you can gain from those experiences and knowledge, in the ideas, in the wisdom you gained from studying and learning from those successful people. You see, with me in teaching, I did the same thing. I still do the same thing. I don't want to be another teacher. I want to be that one teacher that's going to go out there. It's going to make a difference. That's going to stand out. Take my creativity and use it in my classroom and let it live on for my students. That's why I got Brodeurland. That's why I got this YouTube channel. That's why I'm doing these podcasts. Sure, I want to be creative. Sure, I want to try new things. But at the end of the day, whether it's tomorrow, a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, I'll get that student that can go back and watch the library of videos that I've made. And they can remember, and they can be motivated, and they can look back and say, you know what? Mr. Brodeur said to not be a copy. I got to be an original. He told me every day, you're somebody, you're capable, you're smart, you're strong, you're worthy. Pie Guy, I tell those students that I teach every day, that phrase, that line, because I want them to believe that they are somebody. You are. Everybody is. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to go out there. I want you to take your creativity, really stand out, really become that original masterpiece you were meant to become. That right there, Pie Guy, is the essence, is everything I want you to get out of this word creativity, as you take all these prior words before creativity and put it all together and go to that next level to be the original you were meant to be. Pie-tacular, Mr. Brodeur. I love it. You make me want to go out right this second and really tap into that creativity process, right? To not wait till I have no other choice, but to really find that change, find that creativity I need to push myself, further myself, push the limits. Pie-tacular. And remember, my friends, always stay infinite. And like we've been alluding to this whole time, don't put limits on yourself. You got to expand the horizons. You got to go out there. And like Mr. Brodeur said, you got to be original. And so, Mr. Brodeur, I always like you to finish us off on these episodes. So could you finish us in style? Sure thing, Pie Guy. So always remember, you make each day a special day by just you being you. There's no one in the whole world like you except you. And I like you just the way you truly are. It's good that you exist, but you got to go out there. You got to be creative. You can't be a copy anymore. Take those strategies, take those things you've learned, yes, and go out there and be the original you were meant to be. That way you can become that best version of yourself. So until next time, Brodeur out. Peace.